And in order for unconditional love to happen for another, someone had to break the generational trauma. Now, I don't do this that often, but I'm going to do a screen share. Let's see if this works smoothly right in the middle of my talk here. And oops, there it is. So someone had to break the generational trauma. And you see how it's happening. The person on the left is someone, maybe a past ancestor, who was told, yeah, you're stupid. And then it just leads to the next ancestor just, having the same habits of dysfunction and lack of unconditional love. And then someone in the middle, perhaps you, decides, no, I'm not going to listen to those tape recordings. I'm going to be what's called a non-traditional parent, and I'm going to break that cycle of generational trauma. Now, maybe not all of us had generational trauma, but maybe we had aspects of it that carried through in societal trauma or societal norms, such as, spanking or things like that, right? So instead, we decided to say, hey, I'm proud of you. I'm, raising your children in a new way. And I just love that picture. That's a picture of breaking the patterns of generational trauma. Along this topic, also on the news, and this was actually last night, there was a study, and you may have seen this. There was a study that began in 1938, and it was a bunch of Harvard researchers that embarked on a decades-long study to find out what makes us happy in life. And that study went on for 85 years. They followed these 700 participants, and they asked them questions at different intervals about their life. And contrary to what most people think in terms of what was the happiness driver, it wasn't career achievement, it wasn't money, it wasn't exercise, it wasn't a healthy diet. The number one thing was positive relationships. So I would place that in this category of unconditional love for another. And I'm just going to share another screen share. Let's see how it goes. There you go. So this is the picture that came with that article. And this is like a picture of, this is the kind of environment that fosters happiness. And so you see plenty of respect, sprinkling of kindness, I can't read upside down, common interests, big chunks of attention, just right, okay? And I love that. And so along with this article came this kind of a measuring stick in terms of something that you can use to maybe take an inventory of the relationships in your life. This could be former, it could be past relationships or current friendships. And it says, my friendship with this person gives me, and let's think about this for a second, gives me, who fosters safety and security? Who do you feel safe with? I feel pretty safe right now. Learning and growth. What people foster learning and growth in your life? Emotional closeness and confiding. Who can you trust? Who can you confide in and be emotionally close with? How about identity affirmation and shared experiences? And who can help you in practical ways? Who can give you physical help if needed? Who can, if you had an injury to your leg, who would help you, bring you food? And finally, this area, fun and relaxation. Who can you chill out with? So I thought that was a fun barometer to look at in this study. Makes you think. But we all know that showing love and expressing love with other people, it's fine when it's in our community and if in our kind of social circles, but showing spiritual love for another human being is not always easy, right? And there's a pastor named Rick Warren, who's very noted. And Rick Warren said that God teaches us to love by putting some unlovely people around us. It takes no character to love people who are lovely and loving you, but it takes a lot of character to love those people who are unlovely to us, challenging to us. So is there someone in your life that's been put there to maybe help you exercise this idea of unconditional love for another human being? And I always remember what David Bruner told me. When you feel that feeling of, Jesus, that person is just pulling my strings, you got to think to yourself, what's occurring is appropriate for them. What's occurring is appropriate for them. If you were in their shoes and had gone through their life experiences, you would be behaving the same way. And I think that just leads us to a sympathy or perhaps an empathy for what the person is how the person is being in the world. So my question to you is, how can we bring love into situations where it is least expected? Being the first to, perhaps as Michael Beckwith says, being the first to forgive, rushing to be the first one to say, I'm sorry, might be one of those ways. How can we bring love into situations that are unexpected, like maybe work? You know, who had thought, like in a work meeting, that I would like bring a love into the situation, right? And how can we bring love to people that pull our strings? A poet named Buddy Wakefield said, maybe it's just starting with allowing that person to have safe passage through our minds. And I would say maybe it's just letting the thought of that person be a neutral thing. What's occurring is appropriate for them right now, instead of a hostile thing. Okay. So that's that point. Loving others. That's my wisdom on loving others. Now, this next one, the third type of love, I'm going to be going through these a little bit faster, is love for all humanity and all creatures. It's this global sense of belonging that I talked about briefly last week, that some might call Ubuntu, which translates roughly, the philosophy has a saying that is translated roughly as, I am because we are. In other words, because we are on this planet as a community, it gives me more meaning. So I am a part of this global citizenry, okay? And that means that we might express love for someone we've never met. And I think particularly at this time, we are sending love to Syria and Turkey. You know, think, how are we doing that? Like in our prayers, you know, what does it feel like to embrace those people who are suffering and have lost so much? But I think the challenge comes if you take it a step further. How can we love people in Russia? How can we love people in countries where they're ruled by dictators? How can we send love to millions of people that are oppressing other people? How can we send love to the North Korean government? How can we send love to you name it? Okay. So here's something to consider regarding the spiritual love for the world that I'm going to paraphrase what Wayne Dyer said. And Wayne Dyer said, loving people see the world as loving. I'm kind of tweaking this phrase a little bit differently than what he said. Loving people see the world as loving. Hostile people see the world as hostile. Now, I know you can argue with me about that, but David, there are people, we have to stand up for some of the hostility that's happening, right? But if you go out into the daily world shopping, just driving to Whole Foods and the traffic and someone cuts in front of you at the self-check or whatever, if I see the world as a loving place, instead of a hostile place. If I just have that mantra, then I'm going to give the benefit of doubt to that experience that I bring. And I'm going to bring love. I'm going to bring love instead of hostility. Today's daily word reading, this goes right along the line of compassion. So today's daily word reading talked about compassion. And I was thinking about compassion, fits right into this theme. And we've all heard that compassion is love, what? Love in action. Compassion is love in action. I also have seen this quote: you can easily judge the character of others by how they treat those who can do nothing for them. That's by Malcolm Forbes. You can easily judge the character of others who can do nothing. You can easily judge the character of others by how they treat those who can do nothing for them. So I decided to put those two together, and I came up with this new quote that goes like this: compassion is love in action for those who can do nothing for us in return. Okay, I'll say that again. Thank you for the applause, Connie. Compassion is love in action for those who can do nothing for us in return. I just love that. That is just, it's a generosity of spirit. It means I'm not benefiting by this. It's just generous love. So how can we turn a situation that doesn't have compassion into compassion? There was another news story. I'm not going to read it, but there was a flight attendant on Delta Airlines who made the news because there was a lady who was really scared of flying. She was so scared that he knelt in the aisleway. She had an aisle seat, and he held her hand, and he talked to her about how safe flying was. And he just held her hand and talked to her. And someone filmed it, and it made the news. And this person got interviewed, and he said, it's his mission in life to share love. That's compassion in action. I love that. So I'm going to wrap up with a few thoughts on the final kind of love, and that is love that is rooted in the divine. There is a creation theory in Hinduism. It's a creation myth that's all about the Hindu god of creation named Brahma. And just in a nutshell, before anything else existed, there was just Brahma. Before the world, the universe, duality, light and dark, up and down existed, there was Brahma. But Brahma so loved itself that it became the world. It became duality, so it could give and receive love. So it could be the hugger and the huggee. And that can only happen in duality. It became everything. It became you and me. It became up and down. It became light and dark. It became stars and atoms, and an expression of giving love and receiving love. So this is how much we are loved by the divine. And finally, I'll close by saying, here's another quote I put together last night, and it goes like this: when we see divine love, we are more able to love ourselves and love others. And the more we see divine love and experience divine love, the less we need transitory love that is based on fear. So I hope that makes sense for everybody. It's that the more we grow our relationship with God, the more we experience a divine love that will grow our healthy self-love, that will grow our love for others, that is spiritual, that will grow our compassionate love. And so it is. Just a prayer. Let's just go within and seal this with a prayer. I'm thinking about divine love through me does everything. Divine love through me does everything, is everything. Divine love through me heals all and sees all, uplifts all. Divine love through me makes everything worthwhile. and divine love through me is what the world needs now. And so it is. Margot, over to you.
In this moment, in this place, I remember who I am, letting fear and worry fall away from me. I open my eyes and see there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. When I lose myself, when it seems I've lost my way, I go inside and quiet my mind. I can hear Spirit gently say, there is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. There is only love. There is only love. There is only love. Love that heals, love that sets us free. Love. There's only love. There is only love.